Hey everyone, this is Christopher Luxon, the former CEO of Air New Zealand.
This is John Lee Dumas, the founder and host of Entrepreneurs on Fire.
This is Tracy Ibarra. I'm in Executive Solutions at Dell Technologies.
This is Travis Chappell, founder of Build Your Network. If you are wanting to learn how to embrace change,
To navigate through disruption as a leader,
Then listen to the Leadership is Changing podcast.
The Leadership is Changing podcast.
the Leadership is Changing podcast with my good friend,
my very good friend, Denis Gianoutsos.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos.
Hey, welcome to the show. Leadership is Changing. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Leaders everywhere confront similar obstacles because people are people, but everywhere you go, leaders are overwhelmed, disrupted, and under pressure. They run from email to email, meeting to meeting. Many leaders are not changing quick enough, which means they run the risk of becoming irrelevant and being left behind. The purpose of the show is taking our listeners' leadership to another level by finding their balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. I believe we don't have enough effective leaders in the world today, and if we can get the leaders to step up and lead change, then they can inspire real change. Hey listeners, it's now time to adapt in our fast-moving world, and I want to welcome you to today's show, to today's episode, and also ask you to check out the Facebook group, Leadership is Changing. If you haven't already checked that out, go ahead and check out that great group. Wonderful people who have joined and sharing insights and thoughts around leading change. So this is an Ask Denis episode, which is a freestyle episode where I'm asked by a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts and insights and experiences from working with many leaders around the globe. Hey team, welcome to today's session. Have you said goodbye to your New Year's resolutions yet? Whoa, that's an interesting statement or question. So Happy New Year to you, and welcome to 2021. I posted a quote on social media, and I normally do this around the 2nd or 3rd of January every year, and the quote says this: Dear New Year's resolution, well, it was fun while it lasted. Sincerely, January 2nd. Now, when I post it, I normally get quite a few comments and laughs from people on that because they think it's quite hilarious. Because I think they can relate to it, whereby a lot of them actually have set New Year resolutions, but then nothing happens from day 2 onwards. So there is a serious side to this as well, though. A lot of people get excited and they set themselves New Year resolutions, things like weight loss. They want to lose weight. They want to get fitter, so they want to do exercise. They may want to get be able to stop smoking and less drinking, or even start a business or look at taking a bigger role in an organization, just to name a few things and what people might set themselves as a New Year resolution. By day 2, many have already given up on their New Year resolution. And some studies have been done around this over the years. And according to Wikipedia, in 2014, a report was done on this. And it said that 35% of participants who failed their New Year resolutions admitted they had unrealistic goals. 33% of participants didn't keep track of their progress, and 23% forgot about them. 1 in 10 respondents claimed they made too many resolutions. There was a study done by University of Bristol in 2007 involving 3,000 people that showed 88% of those who set New Year resolutions fail, despite the fact that 52% of study participants were confident of success at the beginning. Well, these studies, what are they telling us? They're really telling us that New Year resolutions don't work for everybody. And what I do know is that people who think of goals, write them down, and put a time frame around them do really well. Do I mean that they always are successful? No, I'm not saying that at all, because they do struggle and they're not always successful. but they have a better chance of being successful and by doing what I just said about setting the goals, writing them down, and putting a time frame around them. And they will set about 3 to 5 goals. They can have more goals if they want, but they need to have 3 to 5 main goals. If they set too many goals, they run the risk of not achieving anything. See, I've talked about this in previous episodes, and I've talked about the massive why, setting goals, and hiring a coach. Today's episode will dive a little bit deeper into the goal-setting piece of that. As a recap from episode 88, and if you haven't already checked out that one, 87 and 88, check out those episodes. But, the second step was that I talked about setting a goal. Because you had to have a massive why, set the goal, and hire a coach. And so if we take time out to set goals to help bring your why to life, that's the really important thing here. See, most people don't set goals as they don't have a big enough why, a big enough purpose. There are those that don't think about it, but who do think about it, but don't write them down. And some set New Year's resolutions, and by January 2nd, as I've already said, they've already given up. Some go on holiday for all of January and don't set goals until the end of January into February, and they don't start getting momentum in their roles, their businesses, or anything they want to do until March, and they've already lost a quarter of the year. Set goals in various areas of your life, and look to set 3 to 5 main goals, as too many goals will mean that you don't achieve anything. Goal setting is one thing, but what's really key is goal achieving. What are some of your big, audacious, hairy goals? Goals that scare you, goals that you don't know how it's going to happen. And if you do, then it's probably not a goal. It's probably just a task that you need to do. You probably need to have a big enough goal. Some of you are on holiday break at the moment, and others are back working. Whatever your situation is, take time out over the next 2 weeks to set your goals for the year. Personally, I've set my goals for the year, and I've completed them on New Year's Eve. I was sitting outside under an umbrella on a warm summer's afternoon, and I've done a lot of work around my goals beforehand, before getting to that situation on New Year's Eve. And I wanted to put the finishing touches on them. And these goals are my main goals for the year. And they've been set in the areas of health, fitness, personal development, and my businesses. There will be other goals that have come up for me throughout the year as well. And I know that complete some of these goals, I'll complete some of the goals throughout the year, and that means it leaves room to bring in some other new goals as well going forward. I've kept my goals very simple this year, and there's a huge amount of work to be done on some of them. But the key here is this: being disciplined, focused, and consistent with my actions towards the goals. And I always ask myself a question, and just about every day, is what I'm doing now helping me get me closer to my goals? And if the answer is yes, then I continue. If the answer is no, then I stop and refocus on where I should be spending my time. Just yesterday, I woke up with another goal that I had been thinking about for several months, but it got very clear for me. My thinking's clear on it. What I want to achieve in it is really clear, and it's a massive goal, and I have no idea how it's going to be done. It's scary and exciting at the same time, and that's exactly how goals should be. I've looked at some people's goals for the year as they're posting comments on social media. People asking people, hey, what are your goals? Or what's one goal? What's one main goal you have for 2021? And people have been posting different comments on social media. What I'm shocked, surprised, and then again, on the other hand, not surprised, that a lot of them aren't even goals. What they're actually sort of stating there is that there are simple actions and tasks that they need to go and do. You see, people get confused between goals and actions. If a goal is not a goal and it's an action item, then just go ahead and do the action item. If you don't understand how to get to your goal and how to make it happen, then that's probably the right goal. If you're scared and excited at the same time like I am, well, then that's probably the right goal as well. Will it happen overnight? No. Will it take patience? Yes. Discipline? Yes. Focus? Yes. And consistency? Absolutely My goals are simple. I didn't want to complicate them, but it's now time for me to put what I call the meat on the bones. In other words, put the details, plans, action items, all those kind of things together to start pulling it together and start bringing it to life. As soon as I said the goals are done in my head the other day when I was sitting under the umbrella on a warm summer afternoon, some really interesting things happened. Number one, I felt a sense of accomplishment, even though the year hadn't even started yet, right? So I felt like I could have accomplishment of getting the goals done, but also knowing that the year is going to go well by looking at putting these things in place. Does that mean that we will also not have other things happen, like the pandemic and other things? Yes, there'll be a whole lot of curveballs thrown at us. But if you stay focused on your goals, on your why, and you have somebody beside you like a coach helping you, that's going to help you a lot in what you need to do. The second thing was a sense of fear and excitement at the same time, a real weird sensational feeling to have. The sense of not knowing how to get to this goal, for it to come to life and to bring it together. But on the other side, so excited about it. It's pretty hard to understand or say what it means, but it's just the way it is at the moment. And when you like that, that's probably also another good idea or understanding, I should say, that is probably a good goal for you. The third thing was around feedback recognition. As soon as I finished my goals and said the goals are done for the year, I received several messages from various people. One in particular said to me, "I've been impressed with your work this year, Denis. I think it has set you up for a great 2021. Now, it's really lovely to get messages like that because at times it's lonely being a leader/entrepreneur. And for some of you, you're going to relate to what I just said then. And that's why you need to have a community around you. That's why you need to have a coach. That's why you need to have somebody beside you helping you, but also being around some other leaders, entrepreneurs, and so forth. And then the fourth thing that happened is that a couple of individuals reached out to me to discuss possible coaching engagements, which was brilliant. So in summary, this year has been difficult for some of us, and some people have struggled with the pandemic, and some businesses have struggled. And then on the other hand, others have thrived and boomed in the midst of ambiguity and chaos. Whatever your situation is, how are you going to make this year a massive one for you? Set your goals and be clear on what you would like to achieve. And don't get caught in the trap of setting the New Year's resolutions and goals and forgetting about them. Don't fall into the trap of going back to everyday rat race of day in and day out. Hire a coach and get them to work with you on your goals. You'll be so happy that you did that. If you're wanting to engage a coach to help you, then please reach out to me as I have a few coaching spots available. Let's chat about how I can help you have a superb year. Team, make sure you have a clear purpose and then step forward with passion, purpose, and confidence. Happy New Year to you and to your families and your loved ones. May it be filled with health, happiness, love, and heaps of success. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Change is incredibly scary with the unknown and the unfamiliar territory. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing. Hey, listeners, look out for the episodes as they're being published. Download them, have a listen, put a review and a rating, and share them with your friend, your family, and your network. If there's any feedback you'd like to give me on the show, or there's a question for me for the people that I interview, or if you have a question for me on the Ask Denis episodes, feel free to send me an email, denis@leadingchangepartners.com. Hey, listeners, don't forget to check out the Facebook group, Leadership is Changing. Love to see you there. And for those of you who are on LinkedIn as well, there is a page that I have there now on LinkedIn. Go to my profile, Denis Gianoutsos, or just check out Leadership is Changing. There's a page there that I have that available for you now to go. And it's really quite pleasing to see the people who have actually already gone ahead and started following that page on LinkedIn as well. Until next time, have an awesome year. Massive success to you. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Gianoutsos. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.